behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome, all are welcome.
We have a treat today. We have our Suzanne Reynolds is the chair of the leader of our environmental justice team or green team, or all of our environmental initiatives which are growing daily. And under her leadership and with her encouragement, we have really we've become a green church. We have been certified as a green business. We have instituted all sorts of sustainable measures here within our congregation, which is what we have the power to do, right? So we start things in our own homes, in our own congregations locally. And all of that we can really credit to Suzanne, because during Joys and Concerns, Suzanne would always raise issues of environmental catastrophe. So we really want to thank her for her care, her commitment, and her dedication to preserving our planet home. And at this time, Suzanne will give us our message today. And give her a round of applause for all she's been doing.
Good morning, everyone. This weekend, religious communities of all faiths all over the U.S. are speaking out for clean energy and climate justice. Some of the material which I am using today comes from an organization called Green Faith USA, which is a worldwide organization founded in 1992, way back there, last century, and dedicated to bringing people together of all faiths and spiritualities to work for climate justice. Their work includes stopping new fossil fuel projects and calling for universal access to clean energy and green jobs, and to lift communities for a better future. They have officially declared today Faith for Climate Justice Sunday. 2 words, Sunday. People of faith have an important role to play in advancing environmental, climate justice, and social justice. It is common within many faith traditions to call for care of the creation. Care of the creation includes both ecological and human health, protecting the air, water, and soil, standing firm in our love for and commitment to those who are the most vulnerable. Why are faith organizations so involved in climate justice? Because religious leaders are the souls of first responders. When religious leaders speak, conscience is stirred. When congregations act, communities move to action. When faiths unite, change becomes possible. We are not powerless, we are not alone, and acting together can make the difference. Today we are in the midst of a climate crisis, which is linked to the struggle to save democracy. Our religious tradition teaches us to love the earth, to defend the poor, to speak boldly against evil. Environmental justice is linked to social justice. So if there's anyone here who's not convinced that we're in a climate crisis, just a few quick points here. 2003 was the hottest year ever recorded globally, until 2024, when we beat that. In the U.S. alone, 28 separate climate disasters cost over $92 billion and took over 500 lives in 2023. Over 11 million Americans were displaced by weather disasters at some point in 2024, which is a record. So what are the reasons for this climate emergency? Well, scientists say that fossil fuel-generated air pollution killed over 5 million people globally in 2023 and responsible for 100,000 premature deaths that year. Dirty air from fossil fuels and extreme heat, because the heat is trapped in because of the gases, increases the rates of asthma and cardiovascular health. And poor and working class communities often suffer the most because they live in neighborhoods which do not have a lot of green cover, and their air quality is worse than other areas. Yet, despite all this, the U.S. has recently withdrawn from the Paris Climate Agreement, has halted offshore wind development, has ended subsidies for electric cars, and is in the process of retracting regulations that limited the pollutants that fossil fuel companies and others could release into the air and water. At the same time, the U.S. government gives over $20 billion per year as subsidies to fossil fuel companies. However, I don't want this message to be a downer. I want to have some hope here. So, some positive examples of what is happening throughout the world. In 2024, there were 10 countries that relied mostly on clean energy sources for their electricity. In Denmark, the Djibouti, and Lithuania, over 2/3 of their electric power came from renewable sources. Other countries that get a great deal of electricity from renewable sources, more than half, are the Netherlands, Portugal, Germany, Spain, Ireland, and Greece. Granted, these are small countries, but it can be done. China, the leading producer of solar panels, now has 18% of all its electricity from solar power, and that percentage is growing quickly. A story from Pakistan. In the last decade, there has been 2 devastating floods that completely overwhelmed Pakistan's electric grid. So Pakistanis began purchasing solar panels through pool funds, small loans, and personal savings. Today, even mosques have solar panels on their roofs. And the result was a 25% increase in this country's electricity supply from renewable sources. And this was all just a grassroots effort. 55% of California's electricity comes from renewable sources. In fact, for 132 days, 100% of the state's electricity was generated by renewable energy, and 500,000 Californians were employed in clean energy jobs. Getting creative in California also, they had thousands of acres of farmland was too dry and parched to grow almonds and tomatoes, so they made them into solar farms. And now the farmers could keep their land and support their families. In North Carolina, with the help of faith-based nonprofits, community solar programs, dozens of congregations have installed rooftop solar panels on their churches. As one pastor said, this is a quote, "It's about how we treat the earth. Now we have more money. It's not just about how we treat the earth, I'm sorry. Now we have more money to feed the hungry, run youth programs, and help elders pay for medicine." In New Jersey, in 2023, dozens of firms urged Governor Murphy to set 100% clean energy standard to help New Jersey achieve the deepest possible emissions reductions. The companies underscored the policy would help them achieve their own climate goals, but also slash energy costs by reducing reliance on volatile fossil fuels and improving public health by cutting air pollution from power plants. These companies include IKEA, Ben & Jerry's, and Unilever. In fact, the Unilever's U.S. headquarters, which is just in Englewood Cliffs, is powered entirely by renewable energy. There are startup costs. for solar and wind energy. But these initial costs, but beyond these initial costs, it's very inexpensive. In fact, the New York Times has an article today that in the last 15 years, there has been a 90% reduction in the price of solar panels. Incredible. It's very doable. Right now, nationally, 24% of all U.S. electricity is from renewable sources. So there's room for growth. So this all sounds so helpful, so hopeful. We can be helpful. But fossil fuel companies and some politicians are trying hard to keep us dependent on dirty fossil fuels. So in threatening times, religious voices matter. When trusted leaders and clergy speak out boldly, visibly, morally, movements of justice grow. Public moral leadership by clergy, spiritual figures, and their congregations have been the cornerstone of democratic resistance throughout history. And I'll just give a shout out to two names, although I have a long list here. Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., a Baptist minister who led the civil rights movement. What a powerful voice and what an impact he had. And the other one, right here, born and grew up in Rutherford, New Jersey, the Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, who is known for her support of the LGBTQ plus movement, but now leads the Beacon for Democracy organization to fight for democracy and against fascism. And it is her inspiration that has a group of us demonstrating every Thursday night down on Lincoln Park to save democracy. So what can we do specifically as a congregation to celebrate Sunday and support the health of our earth? Well, we have already sent out postcards supporting the New Jersey Climate Superfund bill. And we sent out another batch of postcards to our state representatives against building additional dirty power plants in one of the poorest sections of Newark. But now we have another way to act. The Northeast Supply Enrichment Company, that's N-E-S-E, remember that, N-E-S-E, because you're going to have to use that, wants to build a major project that would include piping fracked gas from Pennsylvania, across New Jersey, through almost 24 miles of pipeline going into the Raritan Bay in the Atlantic Ocean, and construct a massive gas-powered compressor station in Franklin Township. According to the Sierra Club, this is the most polluting type of compressor station that can be built. Parts of the pipeline would cut through critical wetlands, several residential developments, go through under the Parkway and the New Jersey Transit Railroad. It would also call for dredging up thousands of tons of contaminated sediment and release toxins such as arsenic, lead, and PCBs into the air. Now, Governor Murphy has rejected this proposal 5 times, as has New York. But New York is beginning to change its mind. And the company is again trying to get quick approval with a very short public comment period. In my humble opinion, the 2 main reasons to oppose this project are, number 1, it's environmentally unsound, but number 2, it does not give the clear message that we want clean energy. We want to move to wind power, solar power, and hydro power. This is where we as citizens want to go. So there is, as I said, a short time for comments. So if you are so inclined, you can add your voice against this project and be part of this movement. Now, the easiest way to do this is to go to the Sierra Club New Jersey chapter website And to the right side, there'll be a button that says Take Action. You click that button and last night it was at the very top. You want to tell the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to reject NECE's proposal. This is the pipeline proposal and the gas compressor. So, be part of the solution. Faith is active. Justice must be visible. And as Alicia just taught us, the time is now. It's now or never.
Yes.
We're rising up. We rise together.
Amen. Amen.